Francisco, thanks so much for taking time out for the Art of Fearlessly Doing Business interview. Tell us who you are and a little bit about your business.
My pleasure. Francisco Aguirre. I'm the founder of The Office Pile. And The Office Pile is a co-working space, so it's a shared office space for like-minded individuals. People that need to rent office space by the day or by the week or by the month come to this type of environment so that they can share not only office space but also their expertise and network with other amazing business people here. I also have a nonprofit foundation called the Top Foundation. I'm the chairman of the Top Foundation that advances entrepreneurship and education for minorities, for women, and for displaced youth.
That's great. You also have had some accolades about your space. I read on your website. Tell us a little bit about that.
We were recently named one of the top co-working spaces in the world.
Wow.
And that's really a testament to what we have created here. So I'm very proud of that designation.
So why did you get your business started?
It was actually a fluke. I didn't really plan on starting a co-working space. I bought this building. I didn't know what to do with this particular building. I thought I was going to live here, part of it, and then the other one I was going to rent it to maybe a single tenant. But as I started the building, as I started the business, my real estate business, I thought, you know what, maybe I create this crazy thing called co-working, and then that's how it started. I found that there is a need for people who do not want to be tied into long-term contracts or leases, that want to share office space, share a printer, share coffee, share water, share all the utilities, etc., into just one single membership, much like a gym for businesses. That's what I am.
That's awesome.
And that's how this got created.
So what was the first big fear you had to overcome to get started?
There wasn't really fear. Because, you know, the anticipation and the adrenaline you have in opening up something like this and creating and building, for me, it overshadowed any kind of fear that I probably had. I'm fearless in that sense. I'm not disingenuous to know that there is risk. Of course there is risk, and there's always risk. There's risk now, but I knew that I was into something. One of the ways that I placated my fear is by educating myself about what I was going to do. So I knew that I was on the right track.
And so once you got started, you got the doors open, what was the first big bump in the road and how'd you get through that?
I found out that this building has 17 violations, more than I even thought. We didn't open, well, yeah, oops, big oops. I mean, we didn't open, we didn't start taking any members a year after I moved in. So we were still building. We couldn't have the certificate of occupancy because there were so many violations in this building. And it's a beautiful building, but it did have a lot of problems. And that's what prevented us from starting right away. So that was a big obstacle.
Well, we talked before the interview about the fact that I had a similar experience with a building that I purchased. Sure. And so you just kind of had to eat an elephant one bite at a time, right?
Right.
So you take each violation one violation at a time and just take care of it.
It's just one at a time. And what had happened was that in the past, the previous owner, he really upset a lot of people who were at the city hall. And he didn't want to work with them, and so when the inspectors would come in to check something that presumably he had fixed, which he hadn't, then they get more upset and find more things than they were existing. And so there wasn't a good relationship between the city and the previous owner. I come in and I was able to not only fix the relationship that we have with the city, but also be able to fix all the problems in here. So once they saw that I was serious about it, that I was doing what I said I was going to do, etc., then it became a lot easier. But nonetheless, because of the number of violations, we couldn't open for about a year.
Yeah, and that takes tenacity and patience and fortitude to get through that. Congratulations.
Well,
it's a beautiful building.
Thank you so much.
So what's the thing that kind of concerns you the most now, and how are you dealing with that?
It's expansion. I mean, just like anything else, what to do next. I believe that there is a big market, a big need for what I do, which is the shared office space. How do you sell that idea to investors to the constituents, there's always a challenge finding new members. And a gym, for instance, and I equate myself as a gym for businesses, and a gym has the same challenge. How do we get new members? How do we get new members? A chamber of commerce, how do we get new members? Any type of organization, BNI, any kind of networking organization, how do we get new members? How do we attract new members? And that's the challenge that we have.
And how you keep them engaged?
Well, yeah, I learned very quickly that a lot of organizations, they're your best friends the moment that you join and the moment that you are about to quit or your membership expires. That's the only two times you hear from them. And in between, there's silence, right? I mean, there's, hey, how you doing? How's your business doing? What can I do for you? That type of thing. So I think that that's one of the lessons that I think every business owner should know. You want to make the experience of the customer memorable, but not just the moment that that individual came in and signed up for your services. That's where it starts. And I'll be honest with you, I failed miserably in keeping some membership because I didn't realize that is something that needs to be done and nurtured, minute by minute. And those are tough lessons.
Yeah, you always have lessons to learn.
Absolutely. When you think that you know everything there is to know about the business, I think that you need to humble yourself and say, no, maybe I don't. And maybe I'm learning something new by the hour, by the day, by the month. So,
now, you also interview folks.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about your show that you do.
Entrepreneurship Fuego is the first multimedia broadcast show for entrepreneurs here in Arizona. And what we set out to do is to document the journeys of local entrepreneurs in 10 to 15 minute interviews. And it kind of arose, it's a project of the Tough Foundation, but it kind of arose because the idea of entrepreneurship as portrayed by the social media, by the media in general, in the past 2-3 years, I think is a little bit distorted. I think that the notion that people have that entrepreneurship is somehow easy, that you have all this so-called serial entrepreneurs that have all these ideas, and the next thing you know, all you have to do is have a good idea and
poof.
And poof, in 2 weeks you wake up and your Lamborghini's parked in front of your house. It doesn't happen that way. And so what I set out to do was I want to document the journey of local entrepreneurs, real entrepreneurs, those who toil every day, scrappers, that are real entrepreneurs that are going to tell their story about how they got to where they are. And sure enough, the response has been phenomenal. During the past 8 months, since August of 2015, we've interviewed over nearly 250 stories, entrepreneurs. And I can tell you that every single one, I mean, we've interviewed from professional athletes to celebrities to just the regular mom and pop entrepreneur to very well-established businesses here in Nevada. And every single story is a story of chutzpah, of struggle, of defeats, of how do you deal with stress. And some of us deal by doing yoga, some of us deal by having a 3-minute pity party and shaking it off and going out there again. Some of us deal by going to the gym, getting a good workout, going for a run. I mean, there's many deals to way that I found out that entrepreneurs deal with adversity and with stress.
So what can you tell other people about being fearless? It's a good segue. What have you learned about being fearless?
I don't know that I would call it fearless, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a good amount of fear. You know that the challenge ahead of you is unknown, and we fear the unknown. Generally, as human beings, we fear the unknown. Not so much what's out there in terms of the outcome of it, but not knowing what's going to happen in any type of venture, right? In a relationship, we fear a little bit. We don't know, what's going to happen with this particular person that I'm dating today. I mean, is she loyal to me? Is she going to say no to me, or is he going to be nice to me? We don't know. Is the business in which I'm in right now, if I make this decision, is it the right decision? I don't know until I actually make it and actually try it. Am I going the right path? And so that's kind of what the fear is. But for me, it is I try to tackle each potential fear, if you will, potential task individually. Just write them down.
Mm-hmm.
Write them down. Anything and everything that is in my mind, right? And then start tackling it. I mean, when you look at it, our problems or tasks, they all can be reduced to maybe a page or maybe a couple of pages, right? I mean, that's it. No one in this world, I don't care who you are, has an infinite amount of problems. So you could reduce your life and your any kind of problem. I mean, as innocuous as the problem may be, right? I mean, my God, I gotta go get my nails done. Now I gotta get my hair cut. To I gotta pay the mortgage. To whatever it is, you can write it down. And if you write it down, you will see that there's a finite number of issues that a person has. That's it. It could, for some of us, might be 2-3 pages. For some of us, might be maybe half a page. But you can put it down, and once you see it, then there it is. There's your life.
It's not that big of a deal.
And there are 2 solutions for all of the problems that you wrote down. There's only 2 solutions: time or money. Unless it's terminal illness where there's nothing that you can do about it.
Yeah.
In which case, if you've been told that you only have 3 weeks to live, then make the best out of those 3 weeks. But everything else has a solution: time or money. When we think about it, we either need more time or we need money to solve that particular issue. True. And that's what happens in a relationship. Maybe we need time apart. In a business decision, well, maybe I need a little bit more time to come up with a payroll. So it's time and money. That's it. And so when you reduce your life and your problems, your issues, your fear, if you will, I'm talking about fear, when you reduce that to a piece of paper, the things that you need to do, the calls that you need to make, the follow-ups that you need to do, any kind of issue, any kind of problem, then all right, then there it is. It's in front of you, and then you've reduced your fears, your life into something that can be seen, that can be malleable, that can be tackled, and that's how I do it with my life. Fears rather than my tasks.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out to do this interview and the art of fearlessly doing business. I look forward to seeing you at the opening at the Walter Gallery on May 14th.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks again.